Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my musically inclined friend Frank. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome, man. It is almost the holiday season. It's a good time of year. I'm happy. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Frank. As you said, it is almost the holiday season. We're kind of like in the middle of holiday seasons, I guess, if you will, you know.
Yep.
And life's good. Life's all very good. You know what makes life better, Frank? What truly makes it better is some beer.
Oh, I could not agree more with you, buddy.
And so what is it that you are drinking today?
Today, I have broken out a New Belgium Bohemian style Pilsner. I got a bunch of New Belgium stuff. That's why the last couple weeks, the next couple weeks, I'll be probably working through it. But yeah, New Belgium Bohemian style Pilsner. It's a Czech Pilsner, and it's refreshing. It's malty. It's great. I love it.
Well, that sounds fantastic. I am continuing my trend of gluten-free beer, but I'm back to an Omission lager.
Nice.
Yeah, this week because it is good. It is good. I really wish that we got money for these beers.
I know,
that we
right?
drink, Frank.
If anybody works for a
many
brewery and wants to do a kind of a collaboration of some kind, let us know.
Yeah, consider especially if you have gluten-free beer, because that's what I have.
Especially then, yes.
Especially those people. But anyway, that is the whole kit and caboodle, Frank. But Frank, you had said that it's a wonderful time of year.
It is.
We're in the middle of the holiday season, and that means music, Frank. But not just. But the whole year is a time for music, right?
Yes.
Yes,
that's right.
Absolutely. And are you a strictly Christmas music at Christmas kind of person?
The strictest. I mean, it's Black Friday. Black Friday is the earliest that I'm allowed to listen to Christmas music, and I hold very hard and fast to that rule.
I make Thanksgiving night person.
Okay.
I will do Thanksgiving night. That is the time that I'm allowed. And then from there until after the 12 days of Christmas, until the Epiphany, the Feast of the Epiphany.
Same. That's about where tree comes down and music stops all around then. Yep,
exactly. So I have a question then. So around the holiday season, when you want to listen to a film score, do you have to listen to a Christmas movie's film score?
Not always.
Is that a rule?
No.
You're like popping in Home Alone for the fourth time.
I mean, I will do that, but I'm not so I'll listen to other music during the holiday season as well. But the majority of what I listen to is definitely holidays.
Ah, that's so interesting. But so if you were to pop in a Christmas, if you wanted to listen to a film soundtrack and it was the holiday season, do you actually have holiday go-to Christmas albums from films?
Oh, sure. I mean, you mentioned Home Alone. That's a big one for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yep.
Home Alone's definitely one.
In the window. Oh man, that is good. Home Alone. I love Home Alone all around. I like 1 and 2. The 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 13, whatever. How many there are? Not interested. Don't care.
Sure.
Just the first two.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the success of that film is the John Williams soundtrack.
100%. Huge piece of it.
It's it's stupidly good music.
Oh, it has no right to be that good.
No, I do. But do many John Williams pieces have the right to be that good?
Fair point.
He will elevate anything you're watching. anything.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know that it's John Williams doing the music, you're like, man, this music's good. So, for instance, right now, my the comic book graphic novel class that I teach right now is in the middle of Superman the movie. Because long story short, we rearranged our schedule at work this year, so I am like 6 weeks ahead in content because it's more streamlined, efficient schedule that allows us to meet with students every day and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, hey, time to kind of sparse this out a little bit. And so instead of just talking about the importance of Superman the film, I actually get to watch it. And about halfway through the movie, I mean, they're like, it's a movie from the 70s, so I'm not feeling it.
Sure.
They're not feeling it in a lot of ways. Like, kind of low-key love it, but also not feeling it at the same time. But one student was like, I will say this, the music is really good. And
That's for sure.
That's John Williams, baby, because that is Superman.
That's John Williams in his prime.
Yeah, that's right off the heels of Star Wars.
And
right?
Jaws.
And Jaws, right. He's really riding the way. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I think is
just
wrapped
after
up
this.
in there. Yep, okay,
yeah.
so.
And Indiana Jones, too, just after this.
Yeah, so he's real. Indiana Jones 2 or Indiana Jones also?
Indiana Jones also right after this.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, just checking. I wasn't actually sure. Yeah, all of those scores that we just mentioned are fantastic. Even though I will say Close Encounters, it's not the only thing that I really can think of that I can pull from it from my brain is the main like do 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 do, like that bit right there. They use to communicate with the aliens, but anything else John Williams, man. But I think John Williams scores, they're almost like a dead giveaway, right?
Yeah. There are a few hallmarks of his scores that you'll always know that they're his.
Right, because I could say, name me some of your favorite John Williams scores, and you could be like, okay, great, all of Star Wars, no problem.
Exactly.
Everyone that he's done, just wrap it all together, no problem. The Patriot, very underrated very, very underrated John Williams soundtrack, which for whatever reason you cannot get digitally. I don't know why.
Really? The movie or the soundtrack?
The soundtrack.
Okay.
Just the soundtrack. Weird. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea why, and it's very upsetting because it's got a really, really gorgeous score, and it's just like non-existent.
Wow.
Yep, I know. And then, God, what else? Hook also.
Oh man, I always forget about Hook. Yeah, that's a great one.
See,
of course.
People always forget about it, but I think if I was to cut out Star Wars, I think Hook might be my favorite John Williams.
You had a big attachment to that movie as a kid, though. You watched it a lot as a kid, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Because you always bring it up, and I didn't see it till I was like a teenager, maybe. Like my family didn't watch it as when I was a kid, so I don't have the same childhood attachment you do. But you always bring it up, and you really revere that movie. Not that you shouldn't. Don't get me wrong.
Right? No. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not Spielberg's best film by any stretch. The critics definitely didn't like it. But I think John Williams' music again just elevates the material, and it is what a piece of music. Jurassic Park, obviously.
Oh, Jurassic Park, yeah, for sure.
Jurassic Park's got some great stuff in it.
Jurassic Park is up there for me. Was one of the best John Williams scores. Like the sort of holy trinity of Williams scores would be Star Wars, Superman, and Indy for me.
Sure.
But Jurassic Park is right there. E.T. is right there. I would say Jaws.
A movie
is right there
I've never seen.
E.T. really?
I've never seen it. Nope.
Yeah.
Although I do think the main piece, Flying with Elliot, is an awesome piece of music.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So and then when you come into the more modern, this is not so new anymore, but he wrote Harry Potter's themes and so much more recent. A lot of Spielberg stuff in the last few years, right? I feel like Spielberg always taps him, even in the last 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Indy, Superman, Jaws, of course, but not just the main theme. There are other pieces.
Scores.
The scores themselves, the other pieces of music in that film are just as good.
Yeah,
they may not be as memorable because they're not attached to the shark the same way,
right?
But there's a lot of really ingenious thought behind all of those. I'm trying to think of this. you know,
I think
Harry
Jaws is a
Potter.
great example of that.
Yeah, we didn't mention Harry Potter yet. He did films 1, 2, and 3, and this is gonna be people are gonna yell at me. I know it. It's a just okay soundtrack.
I see. Okay, so I kind of feel the same way, and I was wondering what your thoughts were on that.
It's fine.
They're good. They're better than average. You know, like for anybody else, they would be a very, very good set of scores. But for John Williams, they're like not his best work, but they're good.
Yep, that's exactly it. It feels like a lot of other pieces of music, and you know, like every composer has a style, so you can't say that. You can't say that it's just his style. Some of them just feel like I've heard variations of that in about 10 other films. I don't want to say it's phoned in, but it besides the main theme, which I do like, and it attaches itself well to the film.
Yeah,
it's most of it is kind of it's fine. The Christmas piece is good in Sorcerer's Stone, but but it's
very Home Alone.
Home Alone. It's very Home Alone.
Yeah,
and I thought that as an 11-year-old. How old was I? 12, 13 when the film came out. This sounds like this, and this, and this. I already had an ear for it. And I was just kind of, it's not his best. But that's okay.
Because he has an idea of what he thinks Christmas sounds like, right? To him, Christmas is like that's what Christmas sounds like to him. So no matter what movie it's in,
with some bells in the back and with some bells and some chimes and that's Christmas. But he's not wrong. It's absolutely no. That's a Christmas sound. It's just I've heard it a gazillion other times before.
The same way, though, that his idea of like a bombastic heroes theme is either,
a march.
It's a march, right? Exactly. It's that, or it's Superman sounds very similar. In fact, I was listening to a podcast recently where someone mentioned that they used to get the Superman theme and the Indiana Jones theme confused when they were kids, which that's never been the case for me, but I can see how you might.
Yeah, actually, so if you think of those, like if you think of like the throne room Star Wars, bum, you think of that style, Indiana Jones and the Superman theme, they're all marches. Those are all his big heroic themes, though. And just like if you head over to Hans Zimmer and you're like his heroic theme is drums.
Yeah, right, sure. Or Danny Elfman is always going to have like that's they've got the trademark sound.
Exactly, but they don't use them all the time, obviously, because I'm pretty sure that your drum beat that you just gave was the intro to "I Can't Wait to Be King," which was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it probably was more or less. Yeah,
that's pretty great. But speaking of Lion King, you want to talk favorite film scores? Move over Elton John and Tim Rice. The Hans Zimmer music for the Lion King might actually be his best score.
I might agree with you on that. And I'm not the biggest fan of Hans Zimmer, but that is probably his best work. Yeah,
for me, it's. I think it's the least Hans Zimmer, I guess, where he it's like the most maybe musical of his work.
Yes.
Sometimes Hans really likes to go for discordant sounds or just loud noises.
Yes. Exactly. And that's why I'm not necessarily his number one fan, but that's why I like The Lion King so much, because it's a good blend of his musical genius with there's more melody and there's more tunes and it's less of like the discordant noises and less of the drums. They're there, but there's less of them.
Exactly. Although Hans Zimmer, but he does have other good pieces. I mean, I love Hans Zimmer. Don't let me fool y'all. His Sherlock Holmes stuff, that stuff's great. Gladiator is one of the best soundtracks out there. Never mind. Just for the film, hands down, one of the best soundtracks. It's just an incredible piece of sweeping music. A newer, not a newer movie, not Hans Zimmer, John Williams, Black Panther's soundtrack by Ludwig Göransson.
Oh yeah, that was a great. I haven't listened to that score on its own much, but in the movie, it did so much work to support the movie.
It's so good. If you do yourself a favor, Black Panther, track 7, Ancestral Plane.
Okay.
Listen to that piece of music, and you will all agree with me. You will all agree with me.
You must.
You must. On top of that, of course, Captain America: The First Avenger. You know I love that soundtrack by Alan Silvestri. Mm-hmm. That's a great piece of patriotic music. Just
fantastic.
Running through the whole thing. Alan Silvestri. Back to the Future for
Back
you?
to the Future. Always a big one for me.
I can never remember exactly how that main theme goes. Like once I hear it, I'm like Back to the Future. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. I need
I'll just be here in the background for the rest of the podcast, just humming that.
That's
Alan Silvestri, his Avengers theme is also really, really good. Still my favorite Marvel, MCU theme.
Mm-hmm.
Love
I mean,
that.
Apart from the Captain America theme, I'd have a real hard time saying, like, pulling out a theme. I can pull out Michael Giacchino's Doctor Strange theme.
True. That's good.
Boom, 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 boom. But those are just themes, though. You're not talking
themes, not scores.
You're not talking the whole score. Like, going back to Hans Zimmer, his Da Vinci Code score is beautiful. Excellent piece of music. Going over to Michael Giacchino, I know what you're going to say. 2009 Star Trek,
obviously one of my all-time favorite scores. But Michael Giacchino also, I mean, like, first of all, I've listened to that Star Trek score a million times. I have the extended version that has like all the music. It's absolutely just stunning, fantastic. Enterprising Young Men, I could listen to that for the rest of my life. But like Michael Giacchino also did The Incredibles, and Michael Giacchino did Rogue One, and Michael Giacchino has done like all these really, really great films that have great scores. The Incredibles score in general, but the theme especially, is just like pure superheroes, like it's like that goes with any Stan Lee like classic Marvel comic. I mean, that's why that's the best Fantastic Four film that's ever been made. It's perfect. It's a perfect score. Incredibles is perfect, and Star Trek 2009, but also, like, to change tactics just a little bit here, Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan, James Horner.
Yeah.
One of the most underrated scores, I would say, of like cinema history. It's so fantastic throughout.
Okay, actually, this reminds me. So I just got a new washer and dryer. Okay. And when the dryer goes off to tell you that it's done, it sounds like the beginning of Star Trek: The Motion Pictures / new Next Generation theme.
Oh, nice.
So could you actually, because now I'm thinking of all these other songs in my head. Do you know? Yes. So the thing goes dun 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 dun, or like,
that's funny.
Like, or dun dun dun, and then it like repeats itself over and over again. So it never finishes, it never resolves, it never goes da 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 da. It goes ba 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 ba, and it just goes over and over and over and over again. But
that's
it's
so funny.
It's the nerdiest dryer that will ever exist. It is. Speaking of nerdy, this is really, nobody's gonna know what I'm talking about here. Nick Glennie Smith's score to The Man in the Iron Mask.
Oh, no, never seen it. Not familiar with it. Know of it, but not familiar with the work.
It's a little synthesized, so it doesn't hold up. Not in the way that, say, like, I don't know, Tron is synthesized. It's not that style.
Sure.
But you can kind of hear that it's not real in some places, depending on what piece it is. It's a really, really great piece of music. I think it actually elevates the film to a better place, which could be maybe a little lost without the music.
Okay, right on. I've never seen that one. I don't have much to add to that, but that sounds great. Man in the Iron Mask. What about I want to talk about some older classics, and we probably have to wrap up here in a second, but real quickly, let me speed through a couple. Psycho by Bernard Herrmann, right? One of the all-time most iconic scores.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yep.
Yeah, great.
And not
also,
just that theme. The score throughout is fantastic. Gone with the Wind by Max Steiner. I love the Gone with the Wind score. I mean, I love that movie. And it's actually, it's remarkable how much music there is throughout that movie. It's like a 4-hour movie, and there's maybe 3 hours of music. Like there is a lot. He wrote like 3 separate film scores. You know, it's
crazy.
So those are a couple that I think definitely deserve recognition. I mean, you gotta pay respects to something like the Magnificent Seven, Bernstein, oh God, what's Enrico
Morricone's
Morricone, yes, yeah,
The Mission, great. His score for The Mission, outstanding piece of music throughout. Though I think the main theme,
Ennio Morricone, Ennio Morricone.
Gabriel's oboe, I think it is. I think that's his best piece. I think it's Max Steiner's King Kong. Did Max Steiner do King Kong?
He might have. That sounds about right. The original King Kong.
You don't get monster movies. You don't get action movie scores. The way, or epic scores, the way that we have them without Max Steiner's King Kong.
That's very true. That's very. And I did use my one look up, and that is Max Steiner.
Yes.
So yeah, great score. Good pull there. I forgot about that one. I haven't listened to that in a very long time. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I got the last one I'll say, and then I'm done, and you can have the floor, is you mentioned Tron Legacy. Daft Punk's Tron Legacy score is one of my favorites still of the last 10 years. One of my favorites of the last 20 years. It's a real solid one for me that I love listening to. It's great music to work to, and it's just always a pleasurable listen. That and the Star Trek 2009 are constants for me.
I'm gonna go off kilter, unusual one. The Graduates score, because it's it's all Simon and Garfunkel.
Great call.
Excellent piece of music.
Love it.
Basically, every piece of Simon and Garfunkel that you know and love comes from The Graduate.
Yeah,
because it was written for the film.
Right.
Super awesome. Frank, I think this is a great place to wrap it up.
All right. Sounds good. Well, people can find us online at beerwithgeeks.com. You'll find the show notes for this and every episode there. You can find us at thoughtbubbleaudio.com. We're part of Thought Bubble Audio Network. And you'll find lots and lots of other fine shows there, including Supergirl TV Talk, where Tim and I talk about, every week we talk about new episodes of the CW show Supergirl. We break them all down. We get into the themes. We get into the comic book history and everything on every episode. It's a lot of fun. So Supergirl TV Talk, all available at Thought Bubble Audio. We're also, you can email us, beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at beerwithgeeks. You can find us on Facebook, Beer with Geeks, patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. If you enjoy Beer with Geeks and it's worth maybe 25 cents for an episode, for 25, 30 minutes of us talking about movie scores, head on over to patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. $1 a month works out to $0.25 per episode. So if that seems worth it to you, if you could spare that $0.25 a week, we'd sure appreciate it. We've had a lot of growth in the last few weeks there over at Patreon, so we appreciate all of you who are supporting us there. Finally, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Google Play, on Stitcher, on Spotify, on Overcast. Anywhere that podcasts are found, you'll find this show. Please rate and review us there. Tell a friend. Share us on social media. Let people know that you enjoy the show. And email us, tell us what your favorite film scores are. We'd love to hear about those. So that's it for me. Anything you want to add, Tim?
I think that everyone should listen to all of these pieces of music instead of Christmas music. No, just kidding. Don't do that. But do it after Christmas.
Do it after, yeah.
Exactly. Well, Frank, this has been a pleasure. Until next time, cheers.